One and game number 2 kind of panned out, how many people were going up for high ground, how many people were fighting them for it, and they still had like these incredibly positive damage ratios. And again, game number 3, that one, yeah, it's kind of justifiable because, you know, we talked about how nobody looked up towards high ground.
So they kind of pull this card out of the books there. I'd love to see it. Back on over to Venno and Curve. Also staying relatively dynamic. No lurk plays for this one. This is another just full-on clash happening here in front of us.
PETERBOT and CLIX going to win.
Great tag so far. Curve thinking about going in for the shockwave there for a second. Oh, those are some big tags. Wouldn't be surprised. Now's the time.
Yeah, I was about to say, now it's Shockwave. Shockwave, just thinking in my head, Curve does exactly that. Shockwave's over. Close the distance, reunites with Venno, trying to take 2 different approaches. Electro just trying to hold him off, but the persistence is there, not only from one, but both of these players. But Venno goes down. He enters into the box, 2v1. Electro and Ult get that elimination. Curve with no shield. Honestly, 55 HP, almost 1 shot away from going down. You know they're going to be on the chase.
They're coming in quick. Tyler and Chance are moving in fast as well here.
Yeah,
Curve, though, doesn't get caught out by the visual audio cue there while he was eating. Pizza is lucky for him. Look, he actually had to ditch what was left of the box just to stay low here. Take a look, though. We haven't seen Venno lose a fight like this here. Not today. He's been winning these for the most part, but Electro just connects with some big tags there.
Destroy Venno.
Right before we went to the replay monster, I saw them stealing his pizza. Curve, man, how can you let them do that? But hey, sometimes you just gotta let them run away with it, or at least think they can, so that way you can hopefully get Venno back into the game. Consistency is definitely going to be key throughout the weekend. Yes, we do have our top 2, but you see a little bit of a gap start to open up from 3rd and down, and honestly, that's going to continue to be the case here for top 13 overall is what's going to make it to the Summit land. So you see not just first place FNCS, not just the mountains of prize money, but just to keep your journey to globals alive.
No, we were all curious on how Rituals and Aegis Storm Surge strategy was going to work out in the early game. So far, we haven't quite seen their definitive route, but we are seeing a little sample of it. Aegis just playing that high ground right now, looking to tag any teams in the general area who are boxing and or rotating around, and they seem to be playing their drop very deep into the storm, and so far it's working for them, right? As they're finding themselves in the top 5. PETERBOT, Boya, different strat for them now, playing the big base here as well. Last game, they were pretty much boots on the ground, keying into boxes and teams anywhere in the vicinity. But for all we know, PETERBOT is looking to call a target out.
You know, there was a time a few months ago before FNCS Divisional Cups even started. And PETERBOT was kind of taking a little bit of a break. Players were looking at CLIX and Higgs saying they are the team to beat. Higgs is the best player in the game right now. Everybody was saying it's off season. It doesn't matter. PETERBOT's not trying. Guess what? Divisional Cups roll around. The same type of conversation continues to start up. And guess what? PETERBOT shows up. He shuts down the talk. But now that FNCS is actually here, we got CLIX and Higgs proving that, hey, maybe teams were calling it a little early, but they could be right with the way they've been playing so far. But you have to watch out. Not only those two teams I mentioned, but Cold and Rapid as well. Rapid has been on an insane hot streak to start the year. He's even had a second place in years prior with Higgs in a different tournament. So he has right now a good as chance as anybody else to probably win this tournament.
It's crazy when you think reputation. To have a reputation like Codes where it's like, don't worry, he's going to show up and do what he needs to do is actually just incredible. He is doing it so far here today. Again, we're only 3 games in. It would be silly of us to call it, right? There's a lot of Fortnite ahead of us, and I'm sure we're going to see tons of adjustments, especially not only for the last 2 games, but leaning into tomorrow. Who's going to pick up their replays and come up with some new strategies? We will, of course, have to see that. Visual and Braids continuing somewhat of the pace, if you will, right? Game 1 was a victory. Obviously, the last 2, not quite so, but they've still managed to stay very much in the competition so far. They're looking like a shoo-in potentially for the land spot.
Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits of their drop spot here. A little bit of a split drop just outside of Dark Dominion. You see the Fun Factory, the Carmine Lodge. It's kind of the split in between the two. No matter where the zone actually pulls, they set up on that mountain because whether it pulls north, south, east, or west, chances are teams are going to have to rotate through them, or at least the paths where they can get shots. And we tune into Curve, still forced to lurk around. They are just waiting for him there. Even when you can buy reboot cards, Curve is just left with very few choices here. As Avenger and Sniper Dude, I talk about them possibly making their return to Wonky Land. It wasn't at the start of this game, but they're still making their presence known over here.
Higgs, CLIX already looking to secure some eliminations right now. Again, nothing has come of it just yet.
Waiting for the
There's a team there. Obviously, Higgs is eyeing them up. I'm pretty sure they recognize there's that duo behind that wall there. CLIX, though, has a lot to be desired when it comes to the overall loadout just so far. That material count looking a bit light.
But oh well.
Comes the big super pad set up right now for Acorn and Bolts. They're playing this rotate through the dead side of the storm. They actually want to opt to stay in the storm. You can see the marker coming out there.
Yeah, and because we saw what CLIX and Higgs, Sniper Dude, Avenger, even saw Cole and Madden all converging over towards Wonky Land. This is going to make it essentially a free rotation towards the western edge of the map. All the teams that could land those shots are already busy, focused on entirely something else. Just trying to stay alive, trying to get surge. So we should see Acorn and Bolts in a good position this game around. And better late than never in the second half of the day, trying to play catch up to what's been going on around you throughout the game so far. Listen and Aloe, same thing so far, 16 points. Half of those coming in this game alone, contested towards the new Sanctuary. They're able to pick up those 2 eliminations, and sometimes you just need a big moment like that to get things going.
As we're watching this, I'm still thinking about Curve, who was sitting at the reboot card while Electro and company were just lurking, holding it down. Talk about that team. You can see in the distance here, Threats actually putting down some shots onto them as they thought they were slick hiding out there for Threats and Veer. They might have just saved Veno's tournament here if that distraction's enough for Electro and crew to have to make a move.
Posting any fun videos on that.
So relatively early, 1 tick, storm damage, plenty of time to decide. Listen, Aloe rotating on over towards Sus Studios.
But I might be
say from this side of the map, you still do a couple more over towards New Sanctuary, but they're just kind of making a pit stop here, healing up before they make the rotation on out. And you see the zip line, they're not necessarily going to carry that into the end of the game. They're just going to use it for right now. That way they can make this rotation just a little bit easier as Penta spots an opportunity in the distance. He immediately goes after it.
This is crazy. Curve is actually 300 damage above the surge somehow. Still as a solo, it looks like he might have been putting up a strong defense against Zypta.
Even
there
though we
for a
only
second,
have 56
and now
supply,
contemplating if it's time to go
we
for the
can
reboot. But of
still
course,
get
he's going to make a
that
quick pit stop here for the
56
machine, so he can pick up some heals to go in and sustain himself here in the storm.
Yeah.
I mean, odds. What do you think the odds are looking like right now for Curve here?
I believe in Curve. I think he's the new era when it comes to NA Central. He's had some big moments in the past, even before teaming with Veno. It's just Neo. It's just lurking around. You see Noisy, you see Listen, you see Aloe. And so, yeah, you might think they have to go to zone, but for Curve, he's still being hunted down. Look at it in the mini map. They might have spotted him out. You hear the shockwaves going off. First shot's going to connect on the Curve. The second one as well. Less than 5 HP. Time is not on his side to get the med kits off. Neo and Noisy. I'm not sure where they got a glimpse of Curve, but they really made that little moment count.
Yeah, Curve needed to just overbuild right there. Get a couple splashes out and try to survive. But unfortunately, he couldn't put up the offense needed. And they fall in 10th positioning now. That's going to be a really tough one to deal with now as we're in game 4. So we're getting deep into the tournament day 1 here. Rapid, on the other hand, just kind of healing up right now. Still haven't secured any new points here. Nothing fresh earned.
I think that's the difference between Cold and Rapid and some of the other teams is they not only get all the gold, they don't necessarily wait to access the vending machine. They buy their med kits early. So it's much safer for them to sit up there and wait the storm out before they start to rotate in. See, Agers, Ritual, decent loadout, having to rotate. Jargu and Carillion, 1 elimination so far, 600 damage above the threshold. Things can definitely change on course of this rotation. You see them rotating right behind Agers and Ritual. They make a quick peek, try to get some damage. Don't really find too much success, but at least they keep themselves moving.
Sphinx dropped here on this moving zone right now. Muzz is getting chased here. They're looking to try to finish this one up. It might not have been their Elam, but they definitely had influence in it. You can see the loot just sitting here as the lobby all kind of focusing in here and now. Boy and PETERBOT do have to be careful, though, not to end up like game 2, fully focused by the remaining lobby. And Muzz barely skates out of there. But, you know, I wanted to say one thing about Cold and Rapid. Last game, they had no Elams going into that endgame, and then all of a sudden they just took off, rocketing their way straight up. So that is going to be where they shine the most so far. This game is looking exactly like that. Meanwhile, Agers and Ritual, though, Jacob, here are 50 damage below right now.
Yeah, first thing that popped in my mind as we tune in, not where I expected this team to be going into FNCS. Constant struggles here at 4 Sturge, below the threshold for sure. Depending on where the next zone goes, they might have to go up the side of the mountain, but they see solo players trying to work their way in. They do land a couple of shots, but I was going to say not necessarily enough to get above, but they do jump 65 damage above that threshold. Not enough to continue to hold that confidence, but for now, it's them grabbing a breath of fresh air, letting the lobby kind of settle. They have almost a max pool, just like a few other teams, so they're just trying to pinpoint where they're going to start using those shockwaves to make it in.
So a little glimpse of CDZ and Raven still in the game right now. This is their first mid-game that we've seen them develop in. The eyes are on Muzz right now. 40 damage above, no Sphinx in sight, still have at least earned themselves a single Elam this game, so it's not 0 point
guys,
game.
who isn't going to win FNCS?
Big shockwave here, though. He's got to find himself in a position to actually take a fight or something. But no, look at this. CLIX and Higgs. Higgs is down. CLIX, no heals. Barely anything else to work with. He's got the damage, but he needs a siphon. Oh my gosh.
I'm watching Muzz kind of go crazy as we tune in. Higgs is already down. You can see CLIX in his struggle here. He's already picked up the elimination. No, he does not make it over in time. Higgs goes down. That kind of leaves a lot of pressure onto CLIX. Top 34 monster. Placement points have yet to set in. So this is only a 4-point game so far for CLIX and that 1 elimination. You see he's looking for more opportunities. No shield, no HP, not even a shockwave to boost himself forward. So he has to burn through his materials before he's eventually taken down. The back-to-back will not be a back-to-back-to-back.
Yeah, and that was crazy for him to get the siphon right there to kind of stay in the game. It was looking like there was hope for a moment, but it's just not going to be enough. So down goes CLIX very early in this game before the positioning gets to get rewarded for the rest of the lobby. Cold and Rapid have a chance now to break away. Everyone else inside the top 10 has a chance now to jump up. PETERBOT, Pollo need to take advantage of this opportunity. Muzz still holding on. Hey, don't count him out. He's in roughly top 6th or 7th there himself.
It's going to be a big moment right here. PETERBOT, Pollo just gearing up, ready, and I was just kind of thinking with CLIX and Higgs down, it's not only Cold and Rapid in which you were talking about, it's Agers and Ritual as well. It's about a 50-point gap between that first and second place tie, and Agers and Ritual are sitting in third place. And so with only a 4-point game for CLIX and Higgs, they're definitely going to try to close that gap, hopefully try to take that top 2 spot after this game. Acorn and Bolts, a couple of speed bumps in their journey so far, but they're looking like here in the second half of the day, they finally figured out how to make things work, rotating underneath the bridge, but you can see not a lot of material or resources left on the Agers.
This is what they do best, though, finding eliminations right now, these big pivotal moments here where placement points and elims are going to start propelling you up the standings. Cold and Rapid at the front side of zone, nothing to worry about right now. They're going to surely be breaking away here if they keep getting this amount of runway to work with. Cold shockwaves deep into the storm there. It was worth it. He picks up a bunch of extra heals, material, and everything else now. So Rapid and Cold, like we said, just at the start of this, have proven to be the strongest low ground team so far here in the lobby, and they're not switching up the strategy at all right now.
Yeah, they get the front side of the zone and immediately return back, starting to build up, giving them time to work with. Even with Acorn and Bolts trying to go ahead and shockwave over, they have a little bit of elevation advantage. Acorn and Bolts going to be stuck underneath. Quick couple of shots going to fire off in their direction. They're going to hold their position. 336, though, above the damage threshold. No real reason to peek, but they're just trying to build that cushion. 4 players go down. Storm Surge no longer in this game. And for Agers, it's not necessarily Storm Surge he has to worry about. It's the lack of HP. It's the 0 builds. He needs a miracle here.
Yeah, and I still saw Muzz playing solo as well right now. But look at this. Talk about solos. Pollo is by himself in this end game right now. So close to making it out the edge of zone. He is going to make it. Could find elimination here potentially, but no, not enough shots inside the magazine there. Still, though, does need to splash himself here. Goes for the material first and gets shot while going for it. That little bit of shield being the difference maker to keep him in the game right now. He knows there's danger ahead of him. Forcing himself to build right now. Use the shockwave to give himself that unlimited stamina here now, too. Agers falls on the left. Boya falls shortly behind him in the runway. The opportunity to catch up comes to a close there, and things remain competitive now on the standings. Meanwhile, Bolts and Acorn get off the low ground into the high ground here now.
It's a good chance for Bolts and Acorn to play a little catch-up. Coming into this game, Monster, they were at 9th place, 126 points. No CLIX and Higgs in this lobby. For the past couple of games, it's been them going for high ground, which opens up an opportunity for anybody else if they're daring enough to take it. Reet and Cooper almost picking up an elimination. You can see the desperation in their materials, almost fresh out, and you see Reet going down, just kind of leaves Cooper by himself, trying to hide in that mist, make sure no one could see him, maybe pop off a big shot while he can. Cold and Rapid, though, this is their chance to extend their lead in first place. They were tied up when this game started. Now they're almost at 250-plus points.
Big pressure coming in from Acorn up above. That's almost the decision maker to send Cold back to the lobby. But the pressure's coming in. They see the mist as well, so that's why the shots are focusing in on them. And Bolts and Acorn are recognizing this is their immediate competition right here. This is the threat in the lobby. Who's daring to hold the second height? That's the team they want to send back. Great tracking so far. As now we get to see Braids and Visuals in the bottom right. So far, so good for them. They are slowly creeping their way back up the standings here. From that Game 1 victory royale to a strong Game 4 right here. They're positioned very well. They're just a couple elims away from being inside the top 3 now. Meanwhile, Jacob, look at this. Cooper is by himself here.
Yep, global champion here, forced into another clutch situation. Good damage, unfortunately enough, not enough to get the elimination. Would have been helpful for the Siphon. Wager Slepsy getting approached. They're forced to scramble outside of the box. They go 2 different directions, though. They don't necessarily have the strength in numbers anymore. Slepsy gets tagged up. Wagers goes down. Into the wrong box he goes, and what a perfect elimination for Cold. Only thing he was missing there was the HP, and now he picks up the Siphon, looking for more. Slepsy in his path along with Veer. They get good damage. No eliminations just yet, but they're staying persistent, making sure to push them further and further outside of the zone.
That's the problem. If you were hoping Cold and Rapid were going to fall early, well, guess what? They made it deep into the top 10 now. Rapid is going to fall here, but Cold follows up. Clutches get the full elimination there, too. and the siphon keeps him in the game. Meanwhile, back to Acorn's perspective, just 30 mats now. That's not a winning amount of material just yet, so don't count him just in. But hold up, I'm still seeing visuals alive. I'm seeing a lot of solos here, Jacob. This is not looking too hot for the low ground teams.
Yeah, unfortunately, Visual's run comes to an end here. Madden goes down. Cole is still left alive, though. It's essentially solos versus duos up above. Veer and Cole down below. Their clash, and Bolts is ready to steal away the elimination. Remember, 4 points per. Those eliminations could be the difference, but Cole is able to get the elimination onto Veer. That's 4 more points for them, but he's in a tough situation against Acorn, against Bolts, front side of the zone. Medkit just in case, and they're ready to chop it down. No instant retakes for you. Make a mad dash, his only chance to make it in towards the zone. He gets coned off again, and that opportunity goes out the window. Acorn and Bolts have finally woken up here in the second half of the day to take the VR.
And if you was looking at the standings, you wouldn't have even thought they were in the race at 128 coming into this game. Acorn and Bolts do it in game number 4 there, Zeke.
You see, MDF? You see it all. Every time you think like, oh, it's all good, like it just takes one game, a single game. And we knew going into that game that 210 was tied at first. They end with 211, so we know they're probably going to be in the top 5, if not even higher up the leaderboard. Oh my gosh, Acorn and Bolts, let's go. Like the casters point out, they are alive. Guys, this is a live situation. Everything is going crazy.
It is going quite crazy right now, but I do love to see Acorn and Bolts, as we heard Jacob say, finally wake up right now. And it did seem like in that game, a lot of our top teams were struggling a little bit, potentially going down. So that top 5, as you're saying, Zeke, it's quite possible, Vivid.
Crazy stuff. Obviously, we did see, unfortunately, a couple of our top teams, those that are typically found on the high ground over here on this region, did go down early. So good recognition there for Acorn and Bolts to realize, hey, listen, high ground might be our opportunity to kind of go up there. And as soon as they secured high ground, they never lost it for a glimpse. So great work from Acorn and Bolts to kind of go ahead, take the high ground. And I got to tell you, this game, like casters are kind of calling out, all of the solos, everybody was just kind of tearing themselves apart all on the low ground. I don't know what happened to this lobby, but it's like everybody ran out of mats super fast. There was even like a minute left to this game before the storm fully closed in and the final elimination comes in. Like this was a early win here for Acorn and Bolts, ending themselves there with 211 points after that game. That one is going to put them in the race.
Guys, I got a sneak peek. I got a sneak peek at the standings. I got a sneak peek. Are you guys ready to find out where they are? We'll have to wait till after this break. When we return, we'll take a look at the standings. They're in the top 5, but you're going to be surprised yet again. See you soon.
So I'm watching TV and I be talking the when the game started and talk. Okay.
just like that. I beat you in, crank up back to back. Oh, just like that. I see a dub in my future stats. Oh, I know a place you can go. The doghouse outside my massive abode. It's lovely, it's cushy, and sometimes it's cold. And watch me get this gold. Oh, I want it all, I want it all. Hey, bounce back. I just want it all, I just want it all. Bounce, oh, bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. Said you want it all, bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all.
Welcome back, Fortnite fam. So Acorn and Bolts got themselves a victory royale in game number 4. Now, as we called out, we knew going into the game 210 was tied at first, right? So they end that game with 211 points. They are in the top 5, but it's just a little more complicated than that, because you see they're currently in 4th place, because if we look up the standings, CLIX and Higgs, even though they had a rough game there, they still managed a handful of points. Visual and Braids in that game as well managed to find themselves points with a 5th place and 4 elims, and look all the way at the top. Cold and Rapid. Oh my gosh, guys. This is as unpredictable as it gets. To see Visual and Braids, we'll start with them, to come out with a game like this, a 5th place, 4 elims. We're starting to hit that consistency factor right now, Kelly. It's looking really good for them.
Yeah, this is definitely what Visuals and Braids is known for. We saw them do this all throughout last year with Aminish. They are doing such a good job with consistency, and especially being able to be consistent on the low ground when you have huge names like Cold and Rapid running through it. They're playing this so smart and so safely, kind of sticking to the back end of front zone, or the back end of low ground, instead of staying to the front, which is where all the chaos is. But got to talk about it. Cold and Rapid now with a 51-point lead over 2nd place. And you said that we couldn't have predicted it, but I got a tweet that I sent out earlier or not a tweet, but a text that I sent out earlier that Cold and Rapid are going to end in 1st place in day 1. You all can quote me on that right now, because Cold and Rapid, honestly, when we saw how they've been doing during the scrims, some of these solo clutches that Cold's been able to pull out, I knew that he was locked in. And sure enough, Vivid, we are seeing them today show everyone up. You can say that Cold maybe hasn't played in the last few months, but it doesn't matter because he's playing now.
Yeah, I think the big storyline here in this game is that we did see, going into this game, that Cold and Rapid was tied with CLIX and Higgs. With CLIX and Higgs kind of going down early, only able to pick up 4 points. This was their big opportunity to go ahead and create some sort of a lead on our leaderboard. And as you can see right there, they picked up that 6th place, 4 eliminations. And I got to tell you, looking at their games right now, they have yet to place worse than 8th place in any of these games. So just playing incredibly well. But yeah, because of how well they're playing, they've got that lead, 266 points, about a 50-point lead now for them.
That's scary territory, right, Viv? That's scary territory, because yes, with a single game, right, we can close that gap, no problem. But they are now firing on all cylinders, right? Cold and Rapid, like you said, have not placed outside of 8th place. They literally have nailed consistency right here, right now, in just day number 1. Kelly, if we continue this trend, they will pull away, right? If we just get 2 more games like this, that's not going to be a 50-point lead. That could be over 100 points.
That's true. And just the storylines that are coming out, Acorn and Bolts, after winning that game, also climbing up the leaderboard right now. Wouldn't it be just so fitting to have Cold and Acorn fighting for 1st place in major number 1 instead of it being PETERBOT and CLIX? I would just love for that story to develop. Also, Rapid and Bolts are also 2 teammates that have a lot of similarities as well, or former teammates that have a lot of similarities as well, joined by Cold and Acorn. So maybe we're focusing on the wrong story right now, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a possibility. Speaking about like PETERBOT and Pollo, they'd go down early that game as well, which is, another one of those teams that we do expect to see on the high ground, which again, Acorn and Bolts kind of found it a little bit of a breeze to kind of sit up there on the high ground that game. But even though they went down early, PETERBOT and Pollo, they're still in 6th place right now. So like Zeke mentioned, one game kind of closed the gap immensely. But right now, about 100-point difference between 1st place and 6th. So that's the difference between Cold and Rapid and PETERBOT and Pollo. So a lot of ground to make up if they want to, return to the competition at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, man. It's looking different, right? Like, even if we kind of go back to CLIX and Higgs, right? We have had these games where, and like, just think about it, right? The moment that you have a tough early game or something goes wrong, every single decision these duos are making is pushing them closer or farther up that leaderboard, right? Because in this situation, one thing goes wrong, and now look, we fall early, and that allows the rest of the lobby to catch up. That allows Cold and Rapid to move further away from us, right? Like, it's so crazy how just these micro decisions that the players are making, Kelly, is like, it's either going to make or break their game right now. And right now, more than ever, we can't be allowing that to happen.
No, and it's something that you can kind of expect to happen, even with, like, you know, insane consistent players like Agers and Ritual. You know, they got 21st place, they got 17th place. They're known for being incredibly consistent. So if you look at, you know, teams, regardless of how they perform beforehand, I think what we need to look at is how, once they have a bad game, like a lot of our top teams did in game number 4, how do they recover? Because we know emotions can run high, and a lot of our top teams are very emotional players. And I think when it comes down to emotion, Ritual and Agers are able to stay cool, calm, and collected. So I think although they might not have had kind of the game 2 that we saw them have, that they are definitely not out. And in fact, even with a 21st and a 17th place, they're in 5th. So they're doing just fine.
Man, I like it. Oh my gosh. Okay, look, we got 2 games left to go. And remember, this isn't the end, right? We just have 6 games to prepare ourselves, to kind of lay the groundwork, and then we come back tomorrow for the last 6. And that's where we're going to go ahead and claim an Axe of Champions, and the top 13 move on to the summit with 2 games left to go. These duos, pressure's on. They need to make sure they're doing everything they can to move up that leaderboard and secure these points. Casters, let's get ready for game 5.
Man, Cold and Rapid are on such a hot streak right now, Monster. I'm not sure what anybody in the lobby has to do to slow them down. They land mid-map. They get a chance at a Mythic. They had Rapid IGLing, who's on the insane streak to start the year.
Yeah, and one thing that we're noticing is they're taking their time. So let's see how game number 5 shapes up for this wonderful team.
Now, we had a tie to start last game. Now we have Cold and Rapid with a 51-point lead. Visuals and Braids in second. CLIX and Higgs 1 point down from there in third. Acorn and Bolts, big victory for you out in that last game, bursting them into the top 5. And this is where it starts to get interesting, Monster. As we said, 2 games left. Where you end on day 1 really plays a part in how you get to play out day 2.
Yeah, no one played perfect so far, other than Cold and Rapid's incredible level of consistency so far. You know, and you would think by now, because of how slow they play that early game, they might have surge issues. So with these next 2 rounds, let's see if that strategy continues to hold up. Meanwhile, Naves and Tex make quick work of paper. It looks like off the drop, just besting them there. So things are looking good. Empen and Jack found themselves obviously here in the finals today, finally making good use of the opportunity. There goes their first eliminations. Nicely done, putting themselves on the board here. Jack and Enpen now just have to finish up Avenger here on the outskirts. Gotta run for it.
They're going to have to find him first, but he shockwaves in their direction trying to get out. He's hoping to hit the rift here. Even if he does, it just puts him in the sky right now, and almost looks like Jack's persistence there is going to make sure they clean up that elimination. That's their second one on the board. And it's going to be raining loot for a little bit, so I got plenty of time to go pick that one up.
Back on over to Electro. Oak, we know that this was, of course, the team that kind of threw Veno and Curve for a loop after getting Veno early. You know, Veno and Curve did get to play their game out, but not exactly at the pace that they probably would have liked. Either way, can Veno and Curve find their way back on the tracks here and push themselves up the standings? It's yet to be said. Take a look at Power. Noisy, still in the competition right now, but Neo finds that elimination right there. They're at 110 points here, Jacob. Actually doing surprisingly well so far.
Yeah, and that sometimes all you got to do is keep yourselves within a certain point gap, right? For some players, it's for first players. For others, it's that simple top 13. And right now, if you look at the leaderboard, there's still plenty of games left to go, of course. It's Aviv and King at 136 points, so they're not far off from that threshold, which is a spot at the Major 1 Summit. Jeremy, and that's why you see teams kind of trying to switch things up. Others taking it a much faster approach, others slowing things down. And for Power, already knows that Penta's gone, no builds. That means these next couple of shots, if he does run into these two people, are going to be some of the most important shots in his entire tournament so far.
Most definitely will. So off he goes, trying to lurk about here. Zifta and Void obviously watching the exits. Nothing coming about just yet. Meanwhile, Venno curve back to the lurk. It's just like clockwork for them. Venno might have missed his opportunity, though, as Oak was right there in front of him. Still has Electro here to the side, though. Electro doesn't even know he's going by. Couldn't help it. Has to open fire there. Not the biggest opener that he was looking for, but Curve's already playing a side angle.
Oh, did Oak
Did he
not
see him?
Curve?
Oh, he didn't.
This is going to be one of the biggest lurks right now. It's almost like flip-flop of what they've been doing with Venno approaching close, Curve being in the distance. Chaos Reloader here. Just 1 second of distraction. Nice shot onto Oak. Curve not biting off more than he can chew, though. Instead of getting full-on aggressive, getting the box, he approaches from another angle, trying to keep the pressure on the Electro, not wanting to let him heal. Venno doing the same thing, but it's only going to be a trade in shots between Oak down below as Curve finishes off the elimination there onto Electro. Now it's going to be a 2v1 situation that does not last long. This is Venno and Curve. This is their get back from that last game.
That puts him at 3 eliminations right now. A very strong start here. Again, elims are rewarded so much more in the current format. You love to see it. Back with Higgs and CLIX, man. This is tough, right? Because now they have to make up for the lead that they lost, and they pretty much handed up on a platter to Cold and Rapid there in the last game.
Yeah, they've been blessed the past couple of games. Zone going in their favor, up towards the north, close by Wonky Land. To see how they handle the pressure if the zone pulls away in the last 2 games. Maybe they can actually utilize the wheel to try to rotate in. But at least they don't have a first place target on their back like Cold and Rapid might. Center of the map is Reet and Cooper. You can see them straying away from Latte Landing, doing what some of the other teams are doing. One person is kind of on a hill, trying to distract shots from the distance, while Cooper is just trying to walk up, hide the audio visual, and get a sneaky shot. Yes, it's going to be the Thunderburst onto QK. No knock just yet, but that in its own mind is a little bit of a success for Cooper and Reet.
Oh, for sure. Mistakes were made from QK, leaving a sidewall open there, allowing them to just get free tags there. He didn't even realize where the shots were coming from for a second there. Saw the hesitation on the builds. QK, Contract have also earned a fair amount of points, right? These are all teams that can still jump their way into top 13. Back on over to Cold right now, who clearly is in top form here. And they're just ahead of the pack by over 50 points right now. Really respectable tournament run so far. Jack and NPen, though, not looking too hot. We're started off super strong for them, earning some points now. NPen, though, lost in the exchange outside of the Latte Landing. And then Cole are going to come out ahead there. Jack is forced to retreat, and he's going straight into Reed's team, so he does have to be careful.
Yeah, maybe he just doesn't have the timing there. For Reet and Cooper, who've almost done something different every single game so far in terms of how they've been rotating into some of these zones, so it's easy to catch a couple teams off guard. Onboard visuals and braids talk about sticking to what works. 250 points, sitting in second place. This split drop outside of Dark Dominion. Just like I said in one of the previous games, no matter where the zone goes, they're more than likely going to be center map on top of a hill. So it gives them the luxury to kind of sit here. Yes, they might have to tank some storm damage, but every team in this game rotating in from the east, rotating from the south, will have to pass by visuals and raids, which gives them at least an opportunity to start accumulating that damage.
Better now than later. For Bolts, Acorn, back to the high ground they go. This is their trusty strat. Again, they started off pretty slow, right? We were looking at them like, okay, so decent game 1, and then things kind of fall off pace, but you have that monstrous comeback. All of a sudden now they're up in that 200-point threshold. And look at this. They got eyes on CLIX and Higgs from up top. You would think that'd be out of render distance, but they could just barely pick up the names there. Meanwhile, PETERBOT doing the same thing, has Spoyo down low. He's kind of playing the base here. He's continued to do this as well, being the kind of the sniper in the tower for the duo.
Some of the the best aim in the game. You can kind of see why I connect with 2 tags there, 40 damage. It all adds up over time. Some extra heals not too far away, and then the mending machine down below. And with the zone pulling in their favor, Monster for PETERBOT and Poyo, they have options to rotate. They can shockwave, they can walk it in, or simply hit that rift that's not too far off next to them. They're going to have kind of pick of the litter, essentially, about where they actually want to end up after this next zone.
Backing over Threats and Veers. Highlight here. Catching a free Elim onto Muss out the sky there. Liquid in the distance, too. Meanwhile, Minish, Javi here. Based out, camped out right now. 152 points so far, on pace to send themselves to another LAN event here. Javi would be his first. Exciting times. But look at this, Jacob. Threats and Veer just trying to finish what they started over here.
Rightfully so. You know, you get that one elimination. Yeah, you can rotate the zone, let him reboot. Maybe you can go ahead and try to attack that later. They just don't want to get beamed for free trying to rotate on out. They create some distance. Now they start using the shockwave, so Threats and Veer continue on with the rest of their game, which gives hope for Liquid to try to get his teammate back in. Hopefully they have some gold. There is a free mending machine or some scraps all around they can try to access. Only time will tell, though, how well they're able to make this game count with only 2 left. Irvin.
Look at their Elims.
What?
What's going on?
Okay, so we got Electro Oak. Maybe Tyler Chance. They got a little bit. What? I'm not going to say what went wrong, but like what went right for Venno and Curve since the last time we saw them. And honestly, depending on how much damage they take, they might not have to worry about Surge for the rest of this game.
Yeah, that's crazy. 6 eliminations. Obviously, I'm more impressed by the amount of points they've managed to earn after coming up short last game. So they're on their way back up to the top. Meanwhile, QK Contract, just a sleeper duo so far as you know, how well they've been able to play for what it's worth, right? This is their first time in this level of competition, going against this level of competition, and they seem to be holding their weight just fine.
I like them not overstaying their welcome, knowing they're going to have to rotate on out. I wouldn't say the farthest pull by any means, but it is going to start getting more and more drastic as more and more teams crowd that edge of the zone. You already see a few in their path, so I don't think they're going to be leaving the zone itself anytime soon, maybe rotating towards the north. You see another team in the mini-map towards the outskirts trying to do just that, maybe trying to utilize the Latte landing launch pad, but that one's still locked down by Ree and Cooper on this side of the map. Even with them having rotated in just yet, it's almost no worry when they finally make that play.
Cooper, Ree have the nice high ground here as well, but the zone is already pushing them out. I was going to say, really not many opportunities to find teams either. You can see the remnants of other bases and whatnot. They were probably hoping to see a little bit more activity rotating through here, but might just be a wrong decision for them. Meanwhile, Carillion and Jargo set up the ambush here. Find Aloe rotating behind what looked to be an abandoned base, but no, sir. Had this duo still sitting in it.
I think like Jargo hasn't healed yet. It almost seemed like they had some extras there to try to get the HP back on up. But timing sometimes is of the essence. Beating other teams to a rotation is going to be important to jump back on board Khan and QK. 243 below the damage threshold. You're going to see why they're getting aggressive in this moment outside of zone. It's Listen on the other side. Even if they get the full damage from Listen, there's a chance they're still below the damage threshold here. So depending on how long this fight continues to go, how much Listen actually heals, they're still going to be in a tough spot. But at least they're trying to take it while they can. Continue to close off any exits, take control of the pieces, spotted out Listen again, and instantly going right to the top of those builds. First and second shot is going to connect for Khan, but as I said, still below the damage threshold.
Yeah, nice clean elimination there, but they definitely need more damage here. Carillion in the distance there, kind of listening to the fight go down. Meanwhile, Muzz and Sphinx have built their own additional layer straight across the fortress's edge. This is the first time we've seen an endgame position up here, and look at this. It's going to pull right on top of them for the 50-50. It's a perfect spot to be in. 244 above, not too bad. I think they'll be probably just fine so long as they don't do anything too rash here. This is actually a really good spot for Sphinx and Muzz to be in.
especially rotating in early on towards their west. There is going to be the rift. It's out of zone for now, but depending on where the zone continues to pull, you can see a rift in the end game, creating some unique strategies. We go on over to CLIX and Higgs. You see them chopping their tower out just so they can do the long one. You see them attaching on over. They're going to glide their way in. PETERBOT and Boyo waiting for the moment to try to get some tags out of the sky. And then they can easily just mimic that same rotation. Choice is definitely theirs because they can go ahead and do it on foot as well. But for now, it just seems like they want to make the fast and easy glide into the zone.
Yeah, definitely. But lucky for CLIX and Higgs, the way they set it up, it sends them so far up. They do end up getting out of that render distance there. PETERBOT, Boyo now are going to send themselves straight into the new zone. We'll see where they end up landing. The fact that they're on this same kind of warpath here means they might just end up colliding here shortly. Keep close tabs on them. Jumping in with Encrypted and HQ again. Another team we haven't quite got to see much of their journey. However, they have been very much competitive here on the standings. 138 points here is nothing to be upset about this late into the tournament here. Game 5 right now is in front of us. 98 below though, Jacob. They're hoping to find teams rotating out from outside the zone, but there's no one in sight. They are quite literally the last ones on the edge here.
And this is where the mind games start to play, because you saw the leaderboard when it pops up. They are the line in terms of top 13 going to the Major 1 Summit. They are the team currently to beat. So going down here, especially with one game left and a whole day tomorrow, leave you with a bunch of regrets in the back of your mind. See multiple teams rotating in. Yep, PETERBOT Boyo below the damage threshold monster.
Yeah, I saw that lightning come down as soon as we were panning over. 42 below now. A couple tags get put in there, but PETERBOT and Boyo have a lot to deal with right now. Pressure's on, not only for them not being as comfortable as they normally are this late into a tournament run, but also now having to deal with the surge already, though. You saw there, CLIX, Higgs to the south, other teams in between them. Great tags here putting onto the solo player in front of him. Power has to deal with that too. He doesn't get a shot off, though, so it's going to be pure positive for them. But tags coming in from top. Someone might have jumped into the box. I thought for a second there, even PETERBOT shot his own teammate, not sure of what was going on. And the surge is just a lot to deal with now. Here comes another lobby focus. But luckily, they get just enough here onto Raven and CDZ to keep them above the surge. It's not for long, though.
Yeah, it's like a miracle right now, one after the next. You don't necessarily hear that someone's taking these ticks of Storm Surge Monster, but you hear the shields getting cracked when it does that much damage. I think teams all around them getting a huge signal here of what's going down. They're just trying to take part, make their jobs that much harder here in terms of survival, but they're constantly on the lookout. PETERBOT and Boyo connect with a few shots, yes, barely above 29. They're going to increase that just a little bit, 69 above the damage threshold. It's not a feeling of safety here, but for them, exactly that. We're going into the next zone. It's a moment of fresh air, but instantly the wind gets sucked out of their lungs here as they fall 60 below yet again.
Well, for a team like this, that's all you need, right? Just a little moment here, and they do have some heals to work with, but the clock is ticking. 30 seconds remaining. Duo's right up above them. Into the box, Boyo goes. He hits one monster's tag, gets the knock, and PETERBOT's here to back him up. The zone does the rest, and just like that, 2 more elims, and they are safe for now. Big heals to be found as well. Now, the Chug only has 40 in it, but that is plenty considering where they just left off from. Meanwhile, we pan over to the other side. Visual Braid still in the running. CLIX and Higgs there in the distance too. Much different story for our second and third place leaders here. 99 above for them, so things are just on pace, but the pressure is starting to slow creep here. But look at this, CLIX and Higgs might be going for another high ground positioning.
Yeah, this is actually a smart rotation by them. We saw Buggy down, rolling around at the bottom. Zen was trying to save, but Visuals and Braids were pushing up. Instead of focusing any pressure in that direction, they immediately rotate to zone. Jump on board Rapid, less than 25 HP. Luckily, he has Cold by his side, holding on to those builds, making sure they don't get pushed for free. It's actually separated right now. They're in 2 different boxes. That would have been a perfect time to strike onto Rapid, but Cold is looking through the cone, gathering information, waiting for Rapid to make the rotation on over into the same box. Meanwhile, he finds another big elim onto Magma. This is how you create moments instead of waiting for them.
That timing couldn't have been better, and Cole's got the right idea. He's thinking this guy has to get knocked somewhere close by, but unfortunately is going to be out of reach, and they could have used that that little bit of loot right there. But the fact that Cold and Rapid have managed to kind of found a stable ground here, that's going to be a problem for the standings. Meanwhile, Visual and Braids is like the sleeper duo we're not talking enough about right now. They have just remained so competitive. And while all eyes are on Cold, Rapid, CLIX, Higgs, PETERBOT, Boya, you have Visuals and Braids slowly working their way up the standings as well.
Yeah, they didn't even really look up at high ground. They know how many teams like to go up there. They said, you guys can have it. We're going to wait and find these perfect eliminations down below as another one spotted to wagers. No Slepsy in this game, which means that team is fully eliminated out of the game. Braids and Visuals are continuously heating up here in this game. PETERBOT as well. I did see Preston go down. Luckily, we get a huge view of how PETERBOT and Boy were able to pick up another elimination.
I like he captures Preston, opens the edit, and Preston tries to jump out the box immediately. Just never know. Meanwhile, Higgs and CLIX tanking Storm to get some ultimate positioning here, but CLIX gets collapsed on by Dozier and Eshu, and just like that, he is slightly out of position, but so is Acorn too. Higgs tries to break the builds there. It's Bolts who goes up for a cheeky little high ground play there, and it's all up to Higgs now to try to play this out for positioning here. This is going to be close, but hey, he's got this mountain, which is all natural elevated here to work with. Dozer, Ishu know that they've taken one out from the top. Up they go. PETERBOT and Boyo bounce their way back into the game now. 5 eliminations for this team, and finally now big placement points are being earned here.
Yeah, if you didn't watch the last couple of minutes, you would almost not even know PETERBOT and Boyle were such in a drastic situation, forced to literally fight their way out. Cold and Rapid as well. They finally reunite into the same box, but they're getting pressured on the other side. Rapid's trying to hold on for dear life. Cold is there. They're just trading shots back and forth, but Rapid is taking most of that brute force. Luckily for him, Cold is there, just trying to push that team further and further out towards the zone. There's really no time for Rapid to heal. He has to make this rotation with barely a sliver of HP before him and Cold once again reunite on the front side of the zone.
Cold is just playing so well. He is taking like no damage while all this is happening. Meanwhile, and Boya, if you blink, you missed it. They went up for high ground. They contest the team. They take down Dozer and Eshu. Eshu's already knocked here. PETERBOT now shockwaves down to connect with his teammate, and they are on high ground looking to make up for lost time. 7 eliminations and going. Meanwhile, Cold continuing to find Elims as well. It's all a runaway train though if you are Rapid and Cold here.
Oh, but Ritual Agers, they made a play for high ground, and they get the knock onto PETERBOT. Nobody is now solidified as that team up above. Cold is even trying to retake it. Rapid shockwave up.
God.
One team's loss is another team's gain, but they get chopped yet again. Agers and Ritual, the persistence is there. They're ready to fight for it all. That fight for that first place spot on the leaderboard, doesn't matter who's in their path. They're ready to bulldoze their way out of the lobby.
It's only a matter of time before someone else gets a victory royale, but then you have Visual and Braids here at 8 eliminations. Again, the team that no one is talking about is running things on the mid ground. Make it 9, make it possibly even 10 here in the coming moments. Meanwhile, Cold is on the ultimate low ground, no mats, nothing to work with, and he is just earning placement points. The one thing that's holding him back from really breaking away here, and now he's inside the top 6, and another elim is all his.
Yeah, the zone passes over Cold, allows him to cut back onto Carillion. Now he has another player in his line of sight, which is Madden, but there's still duos in his path as well. Visuals and Braids. These are all heavy hitters that are looking to end the run of first place here, but he gets 5th overall. Cold and Rapid continue the hot streak, but there's only 2 duos left alive. Visuals and Braids, winners of game 1. Agers and Ritual inside of the top 3. They get that first knock on the Visuals. Braids falls shortly after. Agers and Ritual take the game
in a great fashion there too, but Visuals and Braids now a 2nd place. They already won a game here today. What more can you ask of these teams? It is a who's who in the end game here for game number 5 there, Zeke.
FTF, the chaos. It's too much. I cannot believe it. There is just so much packed into these games, man. There's just people overdriving in the air, fighting each other, contesting height, fighting in the front side of the zone, bottom of the zone, mid zone. It doesn't matter. There's chaos everywhere. But in this moment, Agers and Ritual have found themselves a victory royale in game number 5, and in the process took down the Titan that is PETERBOT. Kelly, I feel like if that doesn't give me a boost of confidence, I don't know what will.
Yeah, I need to apologize. I was kind of questioning how Agers and Ritual were in 5th place with a 21st and a 17th. I'm sorry. I'd like to apologize. Clearly, your placements are not an issue because you're walking away with a victory royale in game number 5. And you're talking about the Chaos Seek. You're talking about how we weren't able to really follow along. Well, they were kind of able to just forego all of the chaos, Vivid. Agers and Ritual just kind of allowed themselves to sit in the mid ground, saw all the chaos happening on the high ground, and then waited for everyone to kind of get that out of their system before they went for height and then able to hold it.
Yeah, patience being key here for the duo. Yeah, all that chaos, I couldn't even keep up with what was happening. We had solo clutches going on. Low ground was fighting for this. High ground was fighting for that. And yeah, at the end of it all, Agers and Ritual somehow not only impressively got the win, but got it as a duo. Sometimes when those games get so chaotic, it's really, really hard to stay healthy as a duo. But from the high ground, it was easy for them to do, and they got that game win. And I can only imagine what the leaderboard is going to look like.
Oh, man. One game left to go, Viv. When we return after this short break, we'll start taking a look at that leaderboard. We'll start setting things up because remember, we have 6 games today, and then after the 6 tomorrow, we are crowning champions. Fortnite fam, we're going to take a step away. When we return, we prepare ourselves for the last game of the day. See you in a bit.
Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive.
2 teammates have his back. Where's Nash? Gets the drop on the Marion. Stays alive. They're targeting up Vanya. 3v North.
I'll go here with that one. I'm popping in that bit. Wait, show. Got 6 builds? No. Wait, if you are mid, wait. 100? 100? Oh my god! Oh my god!
And I don't know how to feel about it.
You're not used to losing. Getting beaten?
Not like this. These players are just so locked in.
Could it be the milk?
Mm-hmm.
Stay there.
Fortnite fam, welcome back to the FNCS. This is Major 1. This is day 1. Kelly, don't laugh. I'm panicking. I'm stressing. Much has developed after this last game. In case you just tune in, maybe you're just like, oh man, I've had a long day coming in. I'm watching the FNCS. Welcome. Happy that you're here. Game 5 went the way of Agers and Ritual, which is massive for the duo. They ended with 267 points. As we take a look at those standings, this now puts them in 4th place. This is huge for them. Now we only have a single game left to go here. I don't know how, but Cold and Rapid continue to hold on. They just continue to just find these little consistencies. They just chain together these situations, Kelly, and it's enough, right? A 5th place, 6 elims, and still they are ahead of the pack. It's only 20 points, but if we just keep doing that, right, we just stay ahead of everybody else.
No, you keep saying, I don't know how, and then you explain exactly how. They're constantly making it into the end game. They haven't placed below 8th. They have 30 eliminations, which is more than anyone else in the lobby right now. Cold and Rapid are completely locked in, and this is exactly what I wanted to see at the end of day 1. We can talk about all the other teams right now. There's so many narratives to go on, but to see Cold and Rapid, a team that, for whatever reason, I say for whatever reason, it's because Cold, for whatever reason, doesn't play Fortnite all the time. And you got to wonder if he did play as much Fortnite as some of these other players like a PETERBOT or a CLIX, just how much even better he would be, Vivid.
It's crazy watching back some of the replays from that game. You can see a lot of the times how close their game is to being over, right? They were kind of walking around on the mid-ground layer. They had 0 builds to their name, and that was top 16, right? There was 16 teams left alive when that actually happened, right? No builds. It seemed like the game was pretty much going to be done. And somehow that game ends up being a 5th place for them. Like, these guys just will not lose. They will not go down without picking up a plethora of points to keep them in that 1st place spot. Now, they are in 1st place, but hot on their heels right now. Visuals and Braids, they did close the gap. That game for sure. Visual and Braids picked up a 2nd place with 10 eliminations, which... I mean, dude, that is huge, as you can see. I mean, yeah, they're winning out on the placement points right now. Those eliminations is probably all of the difference between them in 1st place right now.
I mean, Visuals and Braids is, again, we talked about it last year. They were constantly getting 4th place in 2 different majors when they played with Aminish. And before we went live, Jacob PR said that they are the best duo that we never talk about. For whatever reason, they only lock in when it comes to the grand finals. But when they do it big. And they're always in the top 5. They're always beating out some of the bigger teams that we talk about. So I would love to give them the flowers that they deserve. And finally, by being in 2nd place after or towards the end of day 1, they're just grabbing the flowers themselves and saying, look what we can do.
It's scary, right? If Cold and Rapid make one of those little mistakes we've kind of been talking about, Visual and Braids, they're ready to capitalize. They really are. It's got me questioning, guys. Like, obviously we make the joke like Cold doesn't play the game. What if, conspiracy theory, I'm going to break out my own board here. What if Cold has a secret account we don't know about and he's playing Fortnite all the time? Think about it. Think about it. Let's go back to those. Hot. Let's go back to the standings. Kelly, don't make me laugh on broadcast. Let's go back to the standings. We got to talk about CLIX and Higgs, PETERBOT and Poyo. Their battle continues, man, for like a while. CLIX and Higgs were like, they were pulled away. But look at this. We're just separated by 10 points. Oh, man. Even after those 2 victory royales, Kelly, I'm looking at those 10 elims being the difference maker right now. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Well, this is the moment right now that we can see the misstep from CLIX and Higgs. We know that they love to take an early high ground, and they saw zone holding towards this mountain, and so they kind of thought, let's get an early aggression onto this high ground. We're going to claim it, but they stayed in Storm just a little too long, taking a little bit too much damage that Higgs and CLIX were not able to recover from, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, they look like they were in prime position to go ahead and win that game, right? Kind of launching up on top of the hill right there. Just a little bit of an over peak from CLIX. Got beamed by the rifle. I would have to imagine that was, on the receiving end from Ishu, who was going to be the player that ended up aggressing towards him. So CLIX and Higgs, yes, 234 points in 5th place, right behind them, like we talked about. PETERBOT and Poyo, 6th place, 224 points. Honestly, not a terrible game from PETERBOT and Poyo, right? It doesn't really feel like that because we didn't see them in the end game. We don't really see them fly up the leaderboard right now, so we're kind of like, okay, it doesn't really look like they had a good game. They got 12th place, so not the best placement, but picked up 8 eliminations, which is their most eliminations so far throughout the day in a single game. So super cool to see. Really liked the high ground play from them, by the way, because as you can see, the elevation changes that were kind of happening over here amongst the natural terrain allowed it so an overdrive grenade combined with a miss actually allowed them to float up to perfect height to take the fight up there. So super cool to kind of see them make a good play like that. I think ultimately another team ended up getting the best of them. Yeah, that was Ritual and Aegis who went up. And I swear, Kelly, we kind of talked about it. These fights that keep happening up in the sky, it's so wild to me. Is there no other better play to make in those scenarios?
Yeah, what was it? Ritual launched up in the air, and then Peter followed up launching in the air as well to shoot Rituals, but then Aegis followed PETERBOT and shot him instead. And you gotta wonder just how distracted everyone is that there's just two different duos floating up in the air having their own Dragon Ball Z fight, and no one else is looking up towards them. But 5 games, one more for day one, Zeke, and it's just so much has already happened.
I know, Kelly, this is it. Okay, this is the final opportunity for these duos to cement their day one performance, because they're gonna have to look to pick up the pieces that they laid out tomorrow, right? And bring whatever they've learned into tomorrow's 6 games and fight for either spots going to Dusseldorf and the Summit or an Axe of Champions and a title, right? Like, this is so crazy. One last game today before we say goodbye. Casters, for the last time, take it away.
Honestly, Monster, I feel like we're just sitting down for game 1, starting the day, and we're in game number 6. The last chance that these duos have for today to try to get as many points and close that gap as possible.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have had another coffee before this all started. I really didn't need it. The competition is that good right now with Cold and Rapid in such a monstrous lead. Let's just see if they can hold on to it.
It might be too early to start making a little prediction. Who's landing on who's ready to take it by force. But this is game 6, and honestly, where you stand at the end of today, you're going to have to go elimination crazy tomorrow. You're going to have to get consistent top placings if you do want to win this competition, as Jack and NPen do fly down at their drop spot uncontested this time around. They got to watch out for the mountain ranges with Cole and Madden, Acorn and Bolt, and even Frigid Fortress where Osin and Scare land. But for now, it does look like they're going to have a good early game.
Still can't believe Paper's trying to 50-50 this weapon here, considering he fell off the mountain before, but this time he does win the exchange there. He is up 1. He's got full control here. Other fights happening in the feed. Seems like a little bit of a mix-up. Saw Ritual take down Raven. Wonder if that's because he put boots on the ground first and took him out the sky. We'll end up getting some updates there shortly. Jumping in with Cold and Rapid, though. I mean, Jacob, talk to me, dude. What do you think needs to happen in order for the Kings of Dark Dominion to fall?
Honestly, they just need to have a game that is unlike any other. Their worst game today is in 8th place with 5 eliminations. So it's going to be hard to topple over a team like this. You see Max, you see Moppings. No, I know by looking at this point of view, you'd think they're going to run into each other, but Max and Moppings are underneath in those little turbines just trying to loot. It's a little bit of a split drop. Cold and Rapid don't typically go underneath there. So it does look like both of those teams, you know, I'm doing air quotes here, uncontested in this game. Nothing too much to worry about. Visuals and Braids, we've seen them at the start of some of these games so far. They don't really stray away from their plan. They are in the center of the zone. They just got to hope that they get the good loot, because they don't normally go and scoop loot up else from anywhere else.
Just take me way back to that like Cami Seti day where they were landing kind of split mountains and having full control of the center zone. No problems with rotates, but give us a second here. PETERBOT, Boyo, doing what they need to do, finding an early elimination, rotating out. This is almost looking like a repeat performance of game 3 and 4, where they wanted to play hyper aggressive to start making up for points. And it has seemed to pay off for them for the most part, right? Like, all they're missing is kind of closing things out and making some big end game performance for positioning points. But the elims are definitely there.
You know they can pop off at a moment's notice. You tune in Acorn and Bolts. This is one of those drops where you don't necessarily get contested if you're Acorn and Bolts, because it usually narrows down to just kind of like 2 separate 50-50s on top of the mountain for those chests, where Acorn and Bolts usually, more times than not, have beaten out teams like PETERBOT and Poyo to kind of go ahead and claim this drop as their own, which kind of means they're safe for the early portions of this game. 20, not so much. Neko's already down, so the world is literally on his shoulders for the last game of today. But luckily for him, there's still so many other teams right by him battling it out. It's going to allow him to disengage for free.
Yeah, he gets saved by Bucky and Zen, who just come in and then get crashed on. They thought they were going to set up the big alert, but it seems like they were spotted out. Meanwhile, listen, and Aloe seem to have been fragmented apart as well. He's forced to play by himself, so quite the messy start for all 4 of these teams or so. Meanwhile, Braids, though, falls here. It's all up to Visuals. Big problem here. It's Magma and G Monster who come crashing the party here. Visuals, though, gets collapsed on. It's not looking good. G Monster's in the box. Visual forced to back off, and I don't think he's going to be able to get away, but G Monster fails a little edit there. This gives him some time. Visual gets a little heal off, and this is so close. Just like that. Second place is down and out. They thought they were safe on the mountain here, and it's just all over.
Luckily for them, they have a 36-point gap. They are in second place. Like you said, 311 points. Third place is Acorn and Bolts at 275. So a little bit of a cushion. You got to imagine they're going to fall from that second place spot. But how high do they stay on the leaderboard after this game is said and done? So second place spot. How matters. They went to try to get that reboot off. Maybe they're going to pick somewhere better because they just get eliminated yet again. The Tick is literally going to be left by himself. Not sure exactly where he's at, but he has to be close by because the reboot just went off.
Nice little pickups there. But you know what? Last game they did this too, and they still found themselves not exactly in a position to, outpace the general surge damage. So these elims are just coming across as super quick. But it will come down to can they pick apart other teams, and the rotates there as far as positioning is. But Curvin, Veno back into the mix here, back in the action. Last game was generally a decent one. This looks like a little deja vu as they take down Chance and Tyler once again here. When we tuned in like Zone 4, they had 6 elims. We'll see what they end up doing this game.
Yeah, really just taking quick advantage of the teams that are contested on the south side of Battlewood, whether it's just damage or full-on eliminations just like that. They have their game plan set and ready to go. Acorn and Bolt, similar for them. This time around, you see them get off of the mountain right away. They have a feeling the zone is not going to pull over in that direction, so they want to get one of these priority positions over towards Painted Palms. A little bit of a mountain. They go ahead and replenish some of those builds, brick and metal, and they're going to sit Bolts up top, and he's going to be the primary source for their surge.
Got the split once again from Higgs and CLIX here. This time not opting to sit right on top of the wonky land. They want to be a bit dynamic here. So the mountains, this bush here it is. Creon and Dragon there based up in the distance. CLIX might find some tags here shortly.
Takes a bait right there. One of them in the bush. He knows Higgs is going to be able to watch his back. Got to make sure CLIX doesn't get lurked on for free and vice versa. Throwing Threads and Fear. Riptide, uncontested. They've been able to get the Mythic more times than not. Just having to put it to use. 220 points. They're in contention of that top 13 spot. About 114 points away from first place as well. So one good game here to close out the day for a good chunk of the teams. Possibly bounce them into first place as Bucky does go down. Blake and Preston are able to get both of those eliminations and even a third on top.
It's a very nice set of points right there. Keeping them in the conversation so far. Again, there's still teams fighting for that top 13 to make it to land. Jacob, you want to take a glance at what's the threshold, just so we can continue to kind of bake that into the story here, because I know we're looking at obviously who's in the championship race, but remember, there's so much more on the line for this first majors.
Yeah, right now it's at 158 points, and that's being held by Slepsy and Wages, barring any eliminations early on in this game, of course. And it just goes to show how close it is, because below them, Scare and Osid, 156. Tyler and Chance, Jargo and Carillion tied at 150. H-Cube and Encrypted at 138. Literally, one elim separates so many teams from the next placement point. A couple of actual placement points throughout the course of this game could really change the role. And last time we saw Threats and Veer, and looking like clean rotations through the zone, but they get spotted out by Curve and Veno, and in an instant they go down.
And they were in 7th coming into this game, so that's going to open things up for sure for everyone else below them. Madden, Cole here are one of those teams inside the top 10 that are just trailing behind them. It's quite the jump, too, from 8th and 9th. It's a 20-point jump to get to Threats and Veer, who was at 220 points there. So you can see that because they fall, this standings in general is going to become more and more condensed towards the bottom. Well, PETERBOT, though, continue the aggression. We've seen them actually fight this team before and come out successful. They just seem to be essentially picking apart these same duos in their vicinity, and this is how they're earning all these points here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's planned or not, but kind of like what you're saying, just one elim, let the reboot go down, clean the elim up again. Only 3 so far. 2 of the elims are on one of the same players. Then he's able to get Skinny Cat, someone they eliminated in an earlier game. But all of that was going down. Guess what I saw in the feed? This here, Venno with a double elimination, the shockwaves and the fizz. And the interesting thing about that is you don't necessarily get the audio visual. So he is just sneaking on players left and right.
This is how they're doing it. This is how they're basically the most successful early game team I think we've tuned in with on this entire tournament. That they could just clean up their end games, get a little bit of luck on the zones, maybe some positioning. They'll be up at the top. So tomorrow could be a day of adjustment for them, and we could very well see a Venno curve comeback. Mod Sphinx were in that same conversation for quite some time, but again, just coming up short, finding themselves being picked apart, I think, by PETERBOT and Boyo in that last game there, because they fell at 23rd in the previous one and then 8th last round with only 2 elims. So either way, they did manage to clutch up, even though they were taken out a little bit earlier.
Sometimes just being patient, not making a rush to decide any decisions. I'm just kind of having a calm, cool, collected demeanor. It's very, very similar here to Cold and Rapid. You can see it tops this total shotgun damage of everybody else in this game. Just goes to show that Cold, man, it's just the rumors are true. Doesn't have to play. Honestly, just the grind that he's put in the past couple years alone is paying off. It's a prime-time player here. One team's going to be in their path towards the south. Even though they have to rotate in towards the east, they do have the shockwaves. They have the fizz, so they can cover a good chunk of distance in no time at all.
Just little did they know there was a team rotating right below them there, so a little bit of a missed opportunity for them. Meanwhile, Cooper and Reet have this crazy looking pace. I was going to try to describe it, but I don't know what to say. It's just set up for obviously some tags fishing here.
Most of the games when the zone did pull towards the south, or even the western side, where we went over towards Wonky Land and the mountains, Reed and Cooper kind of made it a priority to rotate rather early on, but this time around, they do got latte landing. If they do need it, they have the launch pad right behind them as well, but they're there just on the edge of zone. They can easily climb back down, shockwave off, try to close distance that way, depending on where the next zone goes. So it's not going to be too many difficult decisions for them to come up with as the game continues to move on. Aviv and King, though, all the way on the south towards Dew Sanctuary. 2 eliminations so far. This is one of the first times we're seeing them really stray far away from Sus Studios to try to pick up early damage.
Those are some huge elims. This is going to put them right in contention for the top 13. We're at 144 now. Elims are just the best way, really, to go ahead and make sure you're on pace to fall. Acorn and Bolts, though, they're trying to fight for first. Targeting down Osid. Scared down low. You see up top, Bolts has clutched 78 points as a solo, the most of all players here today. Just really showing you why Bolts is one of the better fraggers out there. His ability to perform clearly has been shown here this weekend so far.
They've been able to get at least 1 win so far. Kind of woke up from that slumber. Venno and Curve getting aggressive. This is first place thereafter. They got the elim onto Cold. Rapid's now by himself, stuck in a tough spot, trying to get out. Use the porta potty. King and Aviv in there are as well. They're just trying to get out. Now Curve and Venno have to make that decision. Do we go along with them? It does look like that answer is going to be yes, but luckily for them, King Aviv, they've already rotated on out. 2,000 damage almost above the threshold. Veno and Curve realize the situation that they're in, Monster, taking a page out of PETERBOT's playbook, saying, hey, if we have any hope of winning this tournament, it's going to be by eliminations and coming back.
The best part about that is Veno and Queasy quite literally set that trend, right? They were the first villains we've ever had in the Fortnite lore. Veno's at 7 eliminations total right here alongside Curve. This is just some exceptional performance right now. And again, it just makes you wonder. They have been the most successful early game duo that we have seen when it comes down to just the way they've managed to ambush duo after duo. It is just a matter of finding placement points in the end game for them.
I'm feeling a big Veno game here. I'm feeling a big Veno game here. So, Mythic Iron Pump, this dude is going to turn, look at people, and they are going to go out like a light. So I'm eager to see how he continues to perform. If he does make it into the next portion of the game, max pull, though, for PETERBOT, Poyo, and a few others. Much better off, though, in this game than they have in previous games in terms of that Storm Surge. Almost 800 above the threshold. Kind of doing something similar to Curve and Veno, looking around for those eliminations. They've been able to close the fights down pretty quick, not extending them to where they're trading damage back and forth. They just got to worry about this rotation here. We're kind of seeing the other side, exactly that. Rapid by himself. And honestly, any points here from Rapid are huge. He just needs to get inside of the top 25.
Got to give himself a little bit of cushion to work with here. Now, remember, Visuals and Braids is down as well in second place. So first and second go down. This is the perfect scenario for an Acorn and Bolt to have an opportunity to kind of solidify a lead going into day two. And Acorn has not been someone who has often had successful day ones. He usually comes back stronger day two. And although he's won major one for the last 3 years consecutively, it has not been easy performances, no easy walkaway, no runaway performances. It has come down to strong day two kind of cleanups in his performance. So this is by far the best we've seen so far. Just keep that in mind as you watch this game go down. So if Rapid can manage to clutch up, the rest of this entire tournament is in trouble, right? Now, if he falls early, as he probably should, everyone's got a chance.
Yeah, if I'm Rapid, I'm aiming for top 12, top 10. That's a good chunk of the placement points. Almost half. Or in the top 8, you get those. When he gets spotted out, you can see he's running low on materials. Uses the shockwave to try to get away, and he's going further outside of the zone to try to hope there's less and less people in this pathward inward. 89 above the damage threshold. A couple shots are going to connect there in that instant, but you can see he's just trying to return back to some of these boxes, maybe even break his way in to try to find any scraps left behind, but he's just waiting for the zone actually forces him to move in. That's where he's going to dig in the pocket and try to pull out those shockwaves.
He's getting a couple tags there while he's at it. Meanwhile, Muzz and Sphinx healing just outside the box of PETERBOT and Poyo. They're trying to see if Muzz is going to make a mistake and weaken that wall with an edit. That's all it's going to take for them to break right in. They say, nah, screw it. We're going to go on and break in ourselves. Meanwhile, Ritual takes down Blake and Preston here. The little side angle. And Agers and Rituals are very much in the race right now. This is going to be a team that we're going to have to be talking about here shortly. If they go for high ground, if they go for a win. Rapid, you see him on the side of our screen just flying across now. And everyone here in this back corner, Jacob, is in a world of trouble.
Yeah, they barely got above that damage threshold for Muzz and Sphinx, because that would have been Muzz going down. He had 24 HP, one strike takes him out of this game, but luckily for him, the Chug Jug's there. Poyo's down, Veno's down, Rapid's still alive, and for Rapid, with how things have been looking, this is a huge blessing with a bunch of our juggernauts being left as solos.
Curve, that's it. That's all that's left to kind of play this one out. Placement points hasn't even been given out, mind you. PETERBOT's also solo here. So everyone that has this blessed opportunity to try to close the gap is now left as solos. Sphinx in the same position as well, 66 below. He's taking damage in your bottom right. PETERBOT's just lurking here, waiting for a chance. Everyone here just wants position, mind you.
Just to simply even get in the zone. 3 different solos. And the world of difference that they're all going through is Sphinx literally has 2 HP trying to find his way out. Curve finds another elimination. That's Higgs. That's an elimination onto Higgs.
Oh my God.
Not sure if CLIX is still left alive. Didn't necessarily see a knock there, but another big name being put on the back foot here. Even Sphinx barely surviving. I'm not even sure how he's not been looked at once. Barely just 2 HP. CLIX is, in fact, still alive. So another big name left as solos here. Luckily for all three on screen, all of them are going to be above the damage threshold. Even more so as PETERBOT finds another elimination.
This is crazy right now. PETERBOT's putting up the clutch here that he needed for the tournament. There goes the big shockwave to get him into the zone. He's just going to take the most advantage of having that max stamina. And there he goes. Changes layers now. He's in a strong position. Meanwhile, Sphinx is still at 2 HP. He is slowly earning placement points, though, here. He can't afford to play with the zone. These are some of his old builds here. He's going to still continue to go around the outskirts. Bringing focus back to the left, though. I mean, this is insane to kind of watch play out right now. Everyone here, although they are solo, are playing exceptionally well. Curves on the heels of CLIX, though. CLIX barely manages to get away there.
Yeah, you can see right now in terms of curve, he's really just out of builds entirely. 0 left, gets spotted out on the other edge, can't build to protect himself, so he scrambles around until he's finally taken down. That's a big elim by PETERBOT there. You said it yourself, 266 points, single-handedly trying to put the team and the game on his back, close the gap. Coming into tomorrow, CLIX trying to do the same thing, but it's a diminished in hobby. We talk about solos here in this game. We finally had a duo emerge as the high ground team.
And CLIX is still in this as well. Couple builds, but QK Contrap got him cornered. Meanwhile, Agers and Ritual finally start finding more eliminations. They're one of the stronger duos still alive in the low ground right now. They find a refresher. And CLIX here, although he's got no eliminations, that's been the problem with CLIX and Higgs. They've gotten the placement points, but they need the elims. And what more can you ask for from CLIX right now as he's almost inside the top 10. He runs into a full duo. He has to back off. Monster's shot there, though, just to kind of keep pressure on these opponents, but he's got to be careful. He still has no builds. And there's another duo there. It's Acorn and Bolts just waiting to pick them up, and they secure an elim. Up to second place, Acorn and Bolts go now as they are inside the top 3.
Yep, now they should be able to secure a win. Who knows? We might be able to see them at first when the day is over. Peaks finds a big shot. Agers goes down, though. You see Ritual scrambling around. Even with 3 builds left, he's trying to be calculated about how he uses his materials. Big shot going to be supplied. I'm not even sure why Dozier went back, but he's going to regret that one as Ritual picks up a big elim. Even more so, the Siphon keeping him alive. Runs into HQ on the other side. Ritual is going off right now, picking up another couple of eliminations.
We have to jump off that beat for just a second. Down he goes at 7th place. It's Reed who's here to meet everyone with the shotgun shot. Now it's Reed's turn. Down goes Contrap. Down goes QK here shortly. Can he get the shot? No, he doesn't. And he falls just in the top 5. Meanwhile, Bolt is still alive here, clutching up for placement points. Just doing it big here. Everyone you expect to perform is doing it here and now.
Yep, 2 solos left alive, 2 duos. I'm Up and Salt. They're taking the charge down below, but they're also taking the focus from that team up above. Bolt's trying to hide the audio visuals, realizing no builds left, can't continue to protect himself. Mythic, 1 pump away, but he goes down, not able to get the max 200. So that leaves I'm Up, another player as a solo. Salt's going down. Aminish and Javier firing up from above, trying to burn through those materials. Enough does go down. They don't even know where this last player's at, but he's up above trying to catch him off guard. That's QK. There is a moment here, Monster. Whoa. He gets almost a minute down. There it goes. The knock is cleaned up. QK! QK! Oh my God! I've never witnessed that in one of the biggest lobbies of our time.
197 points now. He might have just did enough after this weekend is over to send himself to LAN. That is the type of performance we want to see here on the final stage, Zeke.
That was
yeah, no, Zeke, that definitely
insane. No, Kelly, hold on.
Sorry.
That was insane. First off, Jacob PR, MDF, thank you guys so much. Fantastic to the cast. Oh my gosh. QK, first off, can we just say that was the game of solos? Every duo was just a solo, right? Like all these high profile duos, and even in this situation, QK with Khan gets put in a solo situation and 1v2s for the VR, and Kelly and gets 8 elims when it matters. That's crazy. That's
to
right.
go from our last chance qualifier to getting the final victory royale of day one definitely is setting QK and Khan up for an interesting storyline. And there was a moment we could even hear the casters saying, I don't even know where this other solo player is. I thought it was a 2v2. It was Javi and Aminish versus Soul and I Am Enough. We don't have to worry about this fifth player. But no, Vivid, you do have to worry because it's Fortnite. And if there's anything you can predict, it's the unpredictable. So big shout outs to QK and Khan.
Yeah, QK just coming out from nowhere. We actually saw him pick up the elimination in the storm. So he must have been healing out there before he made the return to the zone. MDF kind of caught it out. QK, after his incredible solo clutch, was able to pick them up enough points to put them on 197. I can tell you right now, going into that game, they had a total point count of 100. So they basically doubled their points based on that solo performance right there. Doubled.
I'm telling you, one game, a single game can change absolutely everything for these players. Congratulations again, QK Khan. VR game number 6. Okay. This was it. So first off, we have wrapped up the 6 games for today. So before we take a look at the standings, again, I just want to remind you, we have 6 more games tomorrow. So this day was all about cementing a lead, coming in, making a statement, and making sure you have enough points that when you start tomorrow in those 6 games, you have what you need. You have enough gas in the tank to get you over to the finish line to either qualify, being in top 13 to the summit, or look to hold the active champions high. I've gotten word standings are crazy. That being said, I guess let's go ahead, take a look and see what these look like as we prepare for tomorrow's game.
Of course.
Of course.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess let's just start top to bottom. We'll start top to bottom. Acorn and Bolts have suddenly moved in to first place off of Bolts solo, a 4th place, 4 elims. Kelly, how?
I mean, it's Acorn and Bolts. That's how. Of course, it is Acorn and Cold in first and second place with a single point separating them, Vivid. My gosh. But that's also not even to consider just how close everyone in our top 4 is. That is just 28 points separating first from
kind of like a quiet day. I don't think anything kind of crazy has happened. I mean, they won game number 4, but it's not like they popped off huge amount of eliminations. Bolts has had a couple of solo clutches where he's picked up just a couple of eliminations to kind of keep it going. But I would honestly say that it's felt kind of quiet. We've been highlighting these other teams who have had pop-off performances, pop-off wins. You blink and you miss it. The guys are at the top of the leaderboard somehow. I mean, yeah, it's close up there, but incredible to kind of see them sneak their way up there, in my opinion.
1 point. A single point, of course. Cold and Rapid, 1 point behind. Now, again, so this is something we talk about, and we kind of sprinkle it in here and there, but you can't make mistakes at this stage, right? You make a mistake, that allows everyone else in the lobby to make a move, to kind of say, hey, you're out of the way. Sick, let's push harder. For Acorn to kind of say, hey, you're out of the way. Sick. Let's push harder. For Acorn and Rapid, they fell 26th with 1 elim in that game, right? And think about how far ahead they were. And now, because of that mistake, Acorn and Bolts are at 1 point ahead of us. It took 1 game for that to kind of fall apart, Kelly.
Yeah, it's wild just how much our narrative can shift with a single game, with a single elimination. And I mean, right now, if we're talking about single movements, I do have to look at the threshold right now, reminding everyone we are looking at the top 13 to make it in Dusseldorf. And that is QK and Khan right now, currently sitting in 13th place. So that win, if this was just a one-day tournament, that last game would literally be the deciding factor on if they're going on an international trip to compete in a LAN. So I love it. That is what this is all about, Vivid. It is about these crazy games that can completely shift the storyline.
Yeah, I mean, we run everything back tomorrow and everything pans out the way exactly as it did today. Hey, UK Con, they're going to the summit. So an incredible performance. And UK's like, man, I got to do that again tomorrow to qualify. Are you kidding me? Poor guy sweating over there. He's like, wow, that was incredible. We need a reaction to that, by the way, on socials. I'm expecting to see it.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Viv is like, we've got another 6 games tomorrow. Right, and it may not even be, hey, I need to run that back. It's I might need to do just like the very best I can to make sure that I'm just enough ahead of the other team that I can stay in that contention. Right. I want to just bring up the leaderboard just one more time, and obviously, like, we have a show tomorrow. We're gonna break all this down. We're gonna take some time to look at everything to prepare a show for you guys tomorrow. But just look at this. Even in third place, Agers and Ritual. Right. Look at that top 3. It's only 8 points separating first and third. And even if you kind of continue down the leaderboard, right? Like CLIX and Higgs versus PETERBOT and Poyo, they're separated by 6 points. I mean, guys, so much can still happen. And as game 6 just showed us, one game can flip everything on its head. I would love to sit here and break all this down and just start the next 6 games. Okay, but that's a tomorrow thing. So for now, we're just gonna wait. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll break some of this down. Before we say goodbye, Kelly, Vivid, would you like to say anything to prepare the Fortnite fan for tomorrow?
Grab your popcorn and some slurp juice because you're not going to want to leave your seats once those 6 games start.
First 6 games, they delivered. I feel like it only gets better. Game 2 on NA always goes crazy because I can almost guarantee we'll go into game 12 and there'll be like a 4-point difference between like 8 teams. So we'll be like, oh, okay, who's going to win? I don't know. This is going to be entertaining. So yeah, definitely grab some popcorn, grab some slurp juice, a beer to bar because NA always.
Y'all, thank you for watching, for cheering, for being part of this. It's so much fun getting to hang out with y'all and just watch incredible Fortnite to the players. Thank y'all as well. Till tomorrow, don't forget, actually, E was before us. They also have 20 spots going to Dusseldorf. We need to see how they go. They also need to head out of Axe of Champions just like we do. And of course, after tomorrow, we're going to have a more complete picture of all of the teams heading out over to Dusseldorf. Oh my gosh. Tomorrow is going to be a movie. Fortnite fam, until then, we love you. Keep yourself safe. And we'll see you on that paddle bus.
Beep, beep.
$30 million budget boost as well. At the bare minimum, I need to be there.
So guys, the episode is goodbye.